Welcome to episode 21 of the Worship Online podcast. We are here with Libby Lewis.
Hey guys.
The one and only. Again, Libby's awesome. If you've been listening to some previous podcasts, we had to bring her back. So we had to. And I'm Shalon Palmer, the founder and CEO of Worship Online. And you may have noticed we're missing Brenton, but whatever. Just kidding. No, this is great. Today we're talking about something that we get messaged about all the time.
All the time. Mm-hmm.
This is a straight up email question. Like, someone sent this email. I was like, we got to talk about this because people talk about it all the time. So before we get to that, though, we are giving away $100 gift cards to Guitar Center. Libby, tell them about it.
Not Guitar Center, as we said before.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to hear what you guys think about the podcast, how we have helped you, and your feedback. So we are asking you to leave a review on iTunes. And once you leave a review, just email us to tell us that you left a review at podcast@worshiponline.com. Just say, hey, I left a review. Here's my username. And that way we know that you left one. And we want to give you guys $100 to Worship, or not to Worship Online, to Guitar Center, to buy some strings, whatever you guys might need as musicians. So leave a review and you'll be getting a gift.
Yeah.
So
it's our way to do our best to sow back into you guys what you're doing for the kingdom and help us get to 100 reviews on iTunes. That's our big push for April.
We're so close.
And I haven't checked the stats, but we may or may not be there now.
We're really close.
We're really close, and I hope we are there. But even if we are already there, still go check and let us know. Let us know if we're there.
We still want to hear from you. So leave a review.
Still want to leave your review, and we're still giving away a gift card. So whether we hit 100 already or not, we're still giving away that gift card. We're really close to getting it. And then just let us know what number your review is. That'd be awesome. We'd love to know. Hey, I'm the 90 whatever review. So, but yeah, that's it. And we're going to jump into this episode right now. Roll the intro. All right, so the question that we get pretty often goes along the lines of this. And this isn't exactly, it's phrased in all kinds of different ways, but it's basically, I'm the team member that prepares and everyone else doesn't. And now, if you're listening to this and you can relate with this, you're probably screaming from the roofs like, yes, they're speaking to me. Because I definitely know that feeling. I know that feeling. Whether you are a team member, a guitar player, or a musician, or even whether you're the worship leader who is working really hard to prepare and you're trying to get your team prepared, but they just don't prepare. We're going to talk about that today because we get messages about that all the time.
Yeah, and it can be really frustrating if you're one of those people that puts in a lot of time, or maybe you're using Worship Online and you're investing your time into your instrument and into your voice, and you show up and you realize you're the only one that's doing that. That can be really frustrating because I know how much work and how much time it takes to invest in that and to feel like, why isn't everyone like on this level? I want this excellence for our team. And so that can be really frustrating. And I know we've all been there before. So we just want to talk about that today. It's a tough one. Like, what do you do as a musician when you spend all this time all week, you learn all the guitar parts, for example, or drum parts, and you get there, and then the other guitar player just wanted to just show up and wing it, and maybe he's playing a soloing over the top of you and playing parts that are clashing with what you're playing, and I know how frustrating it can be. You could just want to give up and quit. If anything, today, I just want to tell you, don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't quit.
Never.
I've been there.
We need you.
I spent probably 2 years on a worship team where I was the only guitar player that took the time to learn the parts every week and got there before. And there was another guitar player that we always played with who'd get there and he'd just wing it, and he'd want to do a solo over the top of every song, and it was super frustrating, very frustrating. But I grew as a musician, as a person. I learned humility, I learned patience through that time of just dealing with that and I grew so much, but at the end of it, we were to the point where I was inspiring that other musician. He was like, man, you're learning these parts. Like, I can count on you to learn them. I want to like learn those too. Like, let's do it. And he jumped in and learned it.
Yeah.
So if anything I can get across is stick in there. Like, just stay with it. Do what you know is right. It's easy to get frustrated, and I know it feels disheartening, but stick it out. Keep going. Keep doing what you do what you know what's right. Prepare, bring your best every single week, and you're going to inspire those around you. You're going to help bring up the culture of your church.
That's exactly it. That's what I wanted to go into as well. It's like, maybe you are the only one that's giving your best. Well, by doing that, you're raising the standard for your whole team. And, you might be the Michael Jordan of your team, but like for that reason, you're going to carry everyone with you.
Yep.
And so it's harder to be the one that sometimes has to teach and slow yourself down to be with your team, but it's so worth it, because you start doing that, and then someone else is going to follow you, and then the next person's going to follow you, and soon enough your team's just going to get better and better. So if you are that person, please don't give up on that, just like Shalon was saying. And I also just wanted to throw some advice out there. So this is like specifically, I guess we're talking about if you're a team member, not the worship leader, and you're dealing with this issue, because there's two different ways to handle it. So for now, we'll just talk about like if you're a team member dealing with this. So I also wanted to ask you, Shalon, because we get this asked a lot, because you're a guitar player, an amazing guitar player, and let's say like you have electric 1 and electric 2. If you're one of those guitar players, but your other guitar player like isn't working on their part, how big of a difference does that make?
It makes a pretty big difference, because really with other guitar players, you're both kind of fitting in the same frequency. So you're both filling a role, and that's the electric guitar, which is mid-range stuff. It's the sound of the band. And it's important that you guys are doing things that complement each other. And so if the other person isn't exactly playing something that complements you, or is just doing something over the top of you, or you're hitting notes that are clashing with each other because you're both just whatever playing some other part, that can really hurt the sound of the band. So I think, and it's not always the worst thing in the world. Like, if that person who didn't prepare can just show up and just play some chords or something, they could probably get away with that while you play all the lead parts that you learned. But there are going to be times where you're playing a part, and just imagine it sounds pretty good, but being able to take it to that extra level where like both of you guys are playing with parts that are in sync, and like going from sounding that's passable, going from that to like, wow, that actually sounds amazing. Those parts are really complicated, complimenting each other. So I mean, so if he's able to just sit back and play chords when he didn't prepare, but if on the other hand, if he's just deciding that he's going to solo over the top of everything and just kind of improvise parts, and it's kind of frustrating, because you can sit back and be like, hey man, I learned these parts, I know how they go, man, but you're kind of just making parts up that it can be frustrating. I think it's pretty important. So, I mean, that's why we have the electric 1 and electric 2 parts, because a lot of bands have 2 electric players. So it's important to make sure that they're in sync, or else they can easily clash with each other. Yeah.
Like on one of my teams, the electric 1 and electric guitar players, they would always come early to practice, and just the two of them would sit down and work everything out. That's awesome. And it was always the best sound. And you would see them in practice, watching each other during worship. They would be communicating the whole time, and it was some of the best sounds I've ever heard. And so if you are 2 different electric guitar players, and if you're not friends, become best friends, and try that. Show up early or stay late at practice, and just try and work out your parts, because it makes a huge difference. And I think sometimes, worship music, if you break it down, it could be really some of the easiest music to play if you're just talking chords. But I think we use that as a crutch sometimes in worship, and think oh, I know the chords of this song. That's all I need to play. And I know I've been guilty of that too. Sometimes I play keys, and so I won't learn the actual parts. I'll just learn the chords. But when you actually spend time learning the parts, 1, you get way more excited for that song. And then 2, it just sounds so much better. And that's how worship's supposed to be played. It's not supposed to be easy. You want it to be amazing and excellent. So it's taking that extra couple hours a week to invest in learning the actual parts of the song sounds so good. So
I love how you said become friends with that other person or whatever. I love when we see, like, we get a lot, sometimes electric guitar players will like Instagram tag us or send us pictures of the two electric guitar players watching our Electric 1 and Electric 2 tutorials together, like practicing by themselves. And I can just imagine how great their set is going to sound.
Good.
But yeah, it's going to sound amazing. Like, a lot of these parts written today are super creative. They spend time in the studios. It's not just lead and rhythm where someone's playing some basic lead part and someone's just playing chords. Like, sometimes both parts are playing leads. And like, I know we're talking a lot about guitar, but we're just in all, like, whether you're the singer or whether you're the same with, especially with vocals. Yeah, just getting the vocalists together. And just practicing just them. Like, take those vocal tutorials that we have or whatever you're using to learn your parts and just practice all of y'all. I mean, become friends with those people. Don't be upset. It can be really easy to get frustrated and just be upset with that person who didn't learn the parts. And I know, and I'm speaking from so much experience because, man, it does kind of suck, but it's hard. But just become friends with that person, inspire that person, ask your team what you can do to help. Can I help?
That's so good.
Is there anything I can do? Do you want to stay late? Do you want to get there early and go over parts? That can go over huge. No one's going to turn that down. So if you have to learn their part as well and get there early and teach it to them beforehand,
that's so good.
Go the extra mile. Like, you're in that position of leadership for a reason. And you're gonna be there, and you're gonna be that person everyone looks to. And if you can step up and really, really fill that role and go the extra mile and learn the parts and teach everyone their parts, that's gonna go a long way.
So good, Shalon. Yeah, and you're going to get, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it too. So if you're at a place where you're frustrated, just deciding to take that extra step, like, hey, I've noticed this person's having a hard time with their instrument. I can help that person. And deciding to do that, you're just going to, build your team, and then also you're going to become way more passionate about what you're doing as well. Getting other people excited, helping them out, like maybe give someone a voice lesson or a guitar lesson for free, just to see what's going to happen. It'll be so good. I know there's some people that use Worship Online and they can't, let's say they can't afford it for every single person on their team, but they take it for themselves and they'll learn everyone's part for them just so they can help other people grow.
That's awesome.
Which is amazing. So be huge. That person, be that leader.
Yeah. And even if we've even had messages from people who say they're kind of in that position and they've even spoken to their worship pastor about, hey, I would love to, let's start learning the parts more. But even the worship pastor's kind of like, no, we've always done it this way.
Yeah,
we're
that's
not gonna.
A tough one.
I know, we're not gonna do it. So there's at some point, all you can do is realize that you're there to serve. You're there to serve with a happy, open heart. You're not there to change anybody. You're not there to change the way they do things or anything like that. When it comes down to it, you're just there to serve and just to have a open heart, love people, serve them, do whatever you can to serve others. I think that's going to make the most impact. Like, you getting frustrated and causing a scene or telling the worship pastor, you can't do this anymore because you don't like the way you don't like the culture and how it's done and no one else is learning, isn't going to help anyone. But if you just continue to serve, that's what's going to impact people. If they see that, man, this guy is learning the parts every week and he's serving and you've spoken your heart, they know that you love to be prepared and bring your best every week. That's what's going to impact people. I think that at the bottom line, you're just there to serve.
Yeah. And it will be frustrating sometimes. You're not in a group of all professional, amazing musicians every week. It's gonna get hard and you're all learning together and you have to learn a lot of new songs as a worship when you're on a worship team. So everything you're saying about just helping, realizing first and foremost you're there to serve, and so know that going into it, just to keep you from having unrealistic expectations of other people on your team, because not having the right expectations is what leads to frustration. So just making sure you know that first and foremost. But then if you are noticing someone on the team not putting in their best, make sure, just talk to your worship leader first and foremost and try to come up with some solutions rather than just a list of problems to try to help that person. Because maybe it's spending time with them, just getting them lessons, just talking to them and see how are they practicing, how can they figure out their week a little better. And you'll really help your worship leader by doing that.
That's huge. I think the culture of your team, it really comes down to the culture of your team. Like, is your team a culture of just everyone kind of just shows up and wings it, more old school, just playing the songs? That's really hard to change. That's not going to
Yeah,
change.
I think we're really stuck in that.
That's especially people who've been there for years. That's not going to change overnight. But the best thing that you can do is to continue to serve. You bring that excellence. You do the best that you can do. You can't control anyone else around you. You can only control yourself in what you do. So I think that's the most important thing to realize. And
be the change you want to see in the world.
that's right.
That's
Exactly.
Gandhi.
Exactly. Hey, and we offer, and if your team does want to learn more songs, we offer a great service called
we do. I don't know if you've heard of it.
called Worship Online.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. It's good.
Yeah. Team
Yeah.
accounts allow the whole team to learn their songs. Imagine that. Everyone, drummers, vocalists, everyone. Yeah, because I personally know how frustrating it can be. So I think, in these days, especially like with this resource, Worship Online, it's even more easy than ever to pitch, hey, I want us to learn the songs, like everyone to be prepared, because now we're laying it all out for you. Like, here's how to play the parts. Here's the videos.
Is like, not to be like a shameless plug or anything, but really is kind of the solution to everything we're talking about today, because it gives you everything you need to prepare. And like, that's honestly, we just want to help worship teams be better and help musicians learn. And it honestly has everything you need. So if you don't have one, 2 weeks for free for everyone who signs up. So.
I mean, if we can like steady your mind and make you and your team feel less frustrated at all, which is what some of my favorite emails we get. Hey, I mean, you've saved us so much time.
Yeah,
like,
we
I
get
feel
those all
less
the time.
frustrated. Like that, if that's what we can do, that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve you, serve your team in any way we can. And that's why we built this resource, to serve you and your team. So
yeah, and it's a great way as a worship leader to invest in your team as well. Because you're giving them an amazing free education. So
that's so true. All right. Well, if you want to win a free $100 Guitar Center gift card, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if you won this gift card and you gave it away to one of your team members?
Oh, that'd be so great.
What a way to break like the ice and just say, hey, I love you and I just want to serve you and your gift.
Are old.
Yeah. What a cool thing to do. If you win this gift card and you give it away to someone, that would blow my mind. Actually, I would give you another gift card just because that would be so cool. But yeah, if you want to win a $100 Guitar Center gift card, even if you don't have a local Guitar Center, you can use a gift card online, which I was thinking, like if you don't have a local one, you're in a smaller town or something, you can order it online with the gift card. So just leave us an iTunes review. We're pushing to 100 iTunes reviews. We want to get to 100. It's our big goal. And so just to say thank you for helping us get there, go leave your review and then send us an email, podcast@worshiponline.com, letting us know you left your review, and then just leave your iTunes username so we know to connect the two. And then
send you your gift card.
Then we'll send you a gift card. We're giving away 4. So
Quattro.
May the odds ever be in your favor.
Just translating.
Yeah.
For other audience.
Quattro. Okay, yeah, we do. Yeah, good job. Good job.
For everyone.
Great. Well, do you have anything else?
No. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, thanks so much. Until next time.